What up nerds, I'm Jay Sharif, and if you've watched my channel before, then you already know I absolutely love gadgets and technology, which means I order a lot of stuff off Amazon and eBay. I've decided to introduce a new strand to the channel and I'm calling it Tech Tuesdays. Basically, on Tuesdays I'm going to do short videos all about the gadgets and technology I've bought in the last week or so. I'm still going to do the longer reviews whenever I've got a new and expensive gadget. However, the Tech Tuesday videos will be short and sweet overviews about whatever has recently arrived in the post. And I'm going to start with a really nice item that I bought not too long ago. Now personally, I'm not a big fan of watches. I like to keep my life simple and watches can be a hassle. I've got a Google Watch here by Huawei. This has the very unimaginative name of Huawei Watch 2 because it's the second watch Huawei ever made. Now, apart from my MacBook, I am not an Apple fanboy. I prefer Android. So obviously I was going to get an Android watch, and in many ways it's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, you can use it to tell the time, duh, but it can also track your exercise activities. It has a heart rate monitor, it's waterproof, you can use it to pay for things in shops, and this one has a SIM card, so I can literally use it as a phone. That's no exaggeration. If you have my phone number, then you can call me and we can have a conversation through this watch, Star Trek style. It also keeps me updated about everything that's happening on my mobile phone, including any text messages that I've got, any other notifications. I can read my emails if I want, I can read my WhatsApp messages, I can control the music player or video player, I can control Google Maps. It's absolutely fantastic. However, the most important feature of this watch is that it's orange. I had to import it from Amazon's Italian website in order to get an orange one. Usually they only come in black and I thought that was really boring, so I shelled out an extra £50 for the funky orange version. The problem, however, is battery life. This will last about half a day on a full charge. I can get a full day out of it, but only if I turn off all the phone and wireless features. The other problem with this one is that I can't really wear it to any formal events. Yes, formal events. On this channel, I'm a scruffy looking nerd. In the real world, however, I regularly get invited to fancy black tie events, which I absolutely do not enjoy, by the way. Now, I've got a really lovely collection of suits and ties and cufflinks and handkerchiefs and cummerbunds, but when you're dressed in a fancy tuxedo, this bright orange Google Watch doesn't really go with the outfit. So I needed to find a watch that satisfies the nerd in me, but at the same time looks the part when paired with some formal attire. So, as usual, I drew up a list of features that I wanted. Firstly, it has to be analog, not digital. Wearing a digital watch with formal wear basically makes you look like a peasant. If you're wearing a nice fancy outfit, then you need to pair it with an old school analog watch. And if you're a man, it should be a simple, elegant looking timepiece too. Secondly, I want it to be solar powered. I absolutely cannot be arsed with winding my watch or changing batteries ever. Thirdly, I want it to be rugged and waterproof because, at times, I am a clumsy guy, and it also rains a lot in England. I do also want it to be small and lightweight. I've owned some fancy and very expensive dress watches in the past. What annoyed me most about them, however, is how bulky and heavy they are. And finally, to really satisfy the nerd in me, I really wanted it to be an atomic watch. If you don't know what that means, atomic watches are the most accurate clocks available on the planet. Basically, all watches will slowly drift and become less accurate over time unless you keep correcting them. However, atomic watches always show the correct time because they regularly update themselves using radio signals that tell them the exact time, which is why they're also referred to as radio-controlled watches. Now, that's a really specific set of features, and I wasn't sure I'd be able to find a reasonably priced timepiece that would satisfy me. However, I did manage to find a watch that fulfills all of those requirements. It's called the Casio AWG M100 1AER. Yes, it really is called that, and it normally retails for about £150. I wasn't willing to pay that, however, but I did see one on eBay that was supposed to be in mint condition for just £70, and I ordered it. Unfortunately, a week later it still hadn't arrived, and I was worried that I'd been scammed. So I messaged the seller. He was really apologetic, and he promised me the watch would be with me the next day. I was a little sceptical about that, considering the post office was now closed, and it was late in the day. However, at 6 p.m. the next day, I got a knock at my door, and there was my watch. The seller hadn't posted it to me. He'd literally turned up at my doorstep to deliver it in person. I have never had that happen to me. And he wasn't local either. He lives about 60 miles away, but he said he was really sorry he'd forgotten to post it, so he decided to drive to my house and deliver it in person. And I don't know if that's admirable or downright insane. Anyway, here it is. The Casio G-Shock M100. This watch is analog, as you can see. It's a G-Shock, which means it's rugged and waterproof to 200 meters. So you could conceivably go scuba diving with it if you wanted. It's also solar powered, even though it doesn't really look like it. Casio claimed the internal battery could keep going for 6 months once fully charged, even if you just stick it in a dark drawer. And finally, the icing on the cake, it's radio controlled. It also has luminous hands that glow in the dark, as well as a light that you can activate using one of the buttons on the side. The date is displayed on the face in a small digital panel, and it also has all the usual alarms and stopwatch functions you normally get with Casio watches. By the way, this G-Shock watch weighs just 57 grams, and just to give you a sense of the size, this is how it looks next to my Google Watch, a digital G-Shock I also own. I've also put it next to my bank card because that's a universal item and pretty much everyone watching will know what size it is. So I seem to have found my perfect watch. I can wear it at formal events, I can wear it while swimming, you will never need to replace the battery, and it will always tell you the correct time. What you do have to do is set the correct date and the correct time zone, and that's it. From now on, it will be 100% accurate. I've actually had this about a month now. It's worked perfectly, and I highly recommend the Casio G-Shock M100. There's a link in the description below if you want to buy one for yourself. This has been Tech Tuesday. I'll be back again in a week's time. Later, nerds.